The Zyran flagship was a cathedral of glittering obsidian steel and pulsing blue energy, shaped not for beauty, though it was beautiful, but for intimidation. The guards who awaited him were tall, armored, and silent. Each of them had eyes like lit amethyst and elongated faces resembling stone statues brought to life. They escorted him to a vast throne chamber where she waited, the alien queen. Her body shimmered with metallic violet skin. Her hair flowed like strands of moonlight. 8 ceremonial horns arched like a crown, and her gaze held the wisdom of centuries. Jace dropped to one knee, not out of obedience, but respect. "You honor me with your presence," he said. Her voice was melodic, resonant, and unsettlingly intimate. "You honor me with your existence, human." A curious answer, one that did not match the legends of a cold and ruthless tyrant. She rose from her throne and descended the steps toward him with slow, fluid poise. Every guard watched. "Walk with me," she commanded. He followed her into a private garden, enclosed in glass, filled with exotic glowing flora. Only then did she ask it, without hesitation, without embarrassment, without warning. "What is it like to mate with a human?" Jace froze, caught completely off guard. "That is an unusual diplomatic question," he answered carefully. She didn't laugh. Zyrans didn't laugh. "It is not diplomacy," she replied. "It is curiosity. We have observed your species for decades. You bond differently. You choose partners not by biology or status, but by affection. You risk death for one another. You raise children not as a collective, but as a family. Your mating is not merely reproduction. It is connection." She looked directly into his eyes. "And we do not understand it." He suddenly understood why she wanted him. Not an admiral, not a scientist, not a negotiator. They needed someone who lived and fought for others. They needed someone who knew what love meant. Middle, the mission behind the question. The queen gestured to a nearby bench of crystal and sat. "We are approaching extinction," she began. "Our species is designed for war. Our biology ensures survival through strength, not affection. But strength is no longer sufficient. Without emotional bonding, without attachment, our birth rates have fallen." Jace felt an ache in his chest. For generations, humanity viewed Zyrans as conquerors. No one imagined they were dying. "You want something from humans?" Jace asked. She nodded. "We wish to learn connection. Not the act of mating, but the meaning behind it. The emotion, the devotion, the desire to protect instead of dominate." Jace spoke slowly. "You want to understand love." She inhaled deeply. The word is unfamiliar, but the sentiment is compelling. There was a long silence before she said something that sent every muscle in his body tense. "You will teach me." Jace nearly stood. "I'm a soldier, not a philosopher." "But you are human," she countered. "You risked your life to save a wounded comrade on Revar Prime, though he was already marked for death. You took a plasma blade to the chest to defend civilians you had never met. You disobeyed orders to save your own sister. You are someone who loves without calculation." He swallowed. She knew too much. "You want to learn how humans choose their partners," Jace realized. "Yes," she said. "Because without such wisdom, my species will perish." Jace finally understood. The queen didn't want sexual knowledge. She wanted emotional survival. So he taught her. Days became weeks. He explained loyalty, affection, empathy, jealousy, sacrifice. He told stories of his parents, his first heartbreak, the loss of friends in war, and the meaning of home. She listened to every word as if it were a priceless treasure. Over time, she softened. Her posture relaxed, her tone warmed, her eyes grew expressive. One night, during a lesson on emotional bonds, she asked, Do humans ever experience love without physical intimacy? Yes, Jace answered. Real love isn't defined by bodies. It's defined by choice. She closed her eyes, and for the first time since he met her, she looked fragile. Then I have loved, she whispered. Jace's breath caught. Who? She hesitated, and that hesitation gave the answer. You, she admitted. He stood speechless. Not because her words repulsed him, but because he felt something too, something he didn't expect. Not romantic, not lustful, but powerful. A bond born from vulnerability and shared truth. Perhaps that was exactly the lesson she needed. The ending, the choice that changed two worlds. The matriarchy High Council panicked when they learned the Queen's feelings. Emotion was considered weakness, and the Council believed she was unfit to rule. They attempted a bloodless coup. The throne chamber was sealed. The guards turned their weapons toward their own queen. Jace didn't think. He reacted. He shielded her with his body, unarmed, outnumbered, and hopeless, because that's what humans do. Something ancient stirred within her, something no Zyran had ever experienced. Protectiveness. She didn't push him away. She didn't retreat behind him. She stepped forward to defend him. Her roar shook the room. Not of war, of devotion. Zyran guards immediately dropped their weapons. On their world, loyalty was absolute. If a queen chose someone worth dying for, that someone became sacred to the Empire. Jace had done more than save her life. He had validated her evolution. Days later, during the ceremonial address to the matriarchy, the Queen stood before millions of her people and spoke words never said by a Zyran ruler. To survive, we must not only conquer, we must care. Strength alone builds empires. Connection builds civilizations. And she credited humanity. She credited Jace. There was no romantic confessional, no fairy tale marriage, no biological union. But there was something far deeper. A treaty between two species, based not on fear or weapons, but on empathy. When Jace departed for Earth, the Queen walked beside him to the shuttle ramp. She reached out not to claim him, but to offer something more meaningful. A simple touch of her hand against his. I asked what it was like to mate with a human, she said quietly. Now I know the answer. Jace smiled softly. And what's that? To bond not with the body, but with the heart. He boarded the shuttle with a feeling he never expected. Not love, not longing, but pride. He didn't save just one life. He saved a species. And in return, they taught him that even the galaxy's fiercest warriors can learn to love.